Okay, so topic for today, advanced topic to. Advanced orientation. This is for the basal ganglia. Okay, so the basal ganglia, basal nuclei, pareho yun, made up of system. The system is made up of group of gray matter embedded within the white matter ng cerebrum. Okay? So, mga gray matter na nasa loob ng white matter ng cerebrum. Okay, so, orientation muna kung saan ang location. Ito ba? Hindi kita. Dito kita. So, this is the medial aspect. Yan. Then ito, this is the anterior. So, paano niyo sabi anterior? Now, this is the lateral ventricle, anterior limb. Anterior horn, rather. Anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Yan. Now, kapag narrow, yung anterior horn of the lateral ventricle, may orange pin, as compared dun sa posterior. So, ito lateral ventricle din, which is more dilated than dun sa una. So, this is the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Yung may red pin. So, balik tayo sa anterior mo. Okay. And then, anterior to the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. So, this part na may yellow pin, that is the genu of the corpus callosum. So, tignan nyo dyan sa kabila. Okay. So, part yan ng corpus callosum. So, this is the genu of the corpus callosum. Then, may mga fibers. So, ang genu mo ay hanggang dito lang. So, ang extent ng genu hanggang dito lang sa may pink. Then, there will be fibers arising from the genu which curves outward. So, pag sinabing fiber, gray or white? Ano? When we speak of fibers, what are we referring to? Gray matter, white matter? Fibers. So, white matter. So, fibers arising from the genu, kasi hanggang dyan lang sa may pink yung genu, which curves outward, that will be the anterior forceps. Okay? So, galing sa genu, nag-curve palabas, anterior forceps. Tanggalin na natin ito. Balikan yung anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Lateral to the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle, yung may big yellow pin. Hindi makita. Bayan na lang natin. Masyado malaki. Yung may green pin na lang. Ayan, may dark blue. Okay, that is the head of the caudate nucleus. So, caudate yan. Then, posterior to the caudate, meron ka pa ring swelling. That is the thalamus. Now, take note yung relative size ng dalawa. The caudate, which is anteriorly located, is smaller than the thalamus. So, kapag nakita nyo may thalamus dyan, that is posteriorly located. Okay? Yung caudate, anterior. Katabi nung narrow na anterior horn of the lateral ventricle is the caudate. Then, lateral, ay medial, to the thalamus, meron kang space. Okay? Yung red, that is the third ventricle. Huwag na muna ito. Okay? So, ayan. Pag space, katabi ng thalamus, third ventricle. Tanggalin na muna ulit natin ito. Okay, lahat na merong white panes, that is your internal capsule. So internal capsule is a white matter. Okay? So you have a white matter lateral to the caudate, lateral to the thalamus. That is your internal capsule. Now, yung white matter lateral to the caudate, that is the anterior limb of the internal capsule. Then yung white matter lateral to the thalamus, that is the posterior limb of the internal capsule. Then the area or the point where the two meets, yung anterior limb and the posterior limb, that is the genu of the internal capsule. Okay? Clear na? Then lateral to the internal capsule, makita mo meron kang gray matter. So this one. Okay? So yung white, internal. Then immediately lateral to the internal capsule is your globus pallidus. So this is made up of gray matter. So madidistinguish nyo yan by the appearance. Then lateral to the globus is your putamen. Pag mali ang sagot, putamen. Okay? Pag tama, putamen. Okay? So putamen. Then lateral to the putamen, again, meron kang strip of white matter.
External.
Ayan.
Parang malabo. Siguro yung focus ganun.
Ito.
Yan. Yan.
Then lateral to the putamen or putamen is your external capsule. The external capsule. So immediately lateral. Then on the extreme lateral, makikita mo on this part from here up to here. So this portion is the insula. So may gray matter ka dyan. So that is the insular cortex. So pag sinabing cortex, referring to gray matter. Okay? Yeah. Also insular cortex. Then meron kang strip of white matter alongside the gray matter na nag-curve pa ganon. So that is the insular white matter. Okay? Tagalin na natin itong putamen at saka yung. So yung white, external. Yung yellow, insular white matter. Yung red, gray matter of the insula or insular gray matter or insular cortex. Then immediately lateral to the external capsule, kung may makikita kayong thin strip ng gray matter dyan, wala ang claustrum. Wala ang claustrum. Ito isa. Walang claustrum dun ah. salamin. So yun. Manipis. Okay. Then lateral to your external, pag may nakita kang thin strip of gray matter, that will be the claustrum. Guhit lang yan.
Orange pin.
Thin strip of gray matter. Then lateral to the claustrum, then again you will have another white matter. That will be the extreme. Okay? Now take note na ang external at saka extreme are parallel to each other. Yung sumusunod doon sa gray matter ng insula, that will be the insular white matter. So parallel ang external at saka extreme. In between them is the claustrum. Okay? Kung may makikita kayong thin strip of gray matter. White pin, ano? White pin is your ano? Ito muna. Orange pin. Caudate. White pin. Thalamus.
Akala ko ba kung
Then itong may yellow. Yellow pin. That will be the splenium of the corpus callosum. Pareho. Hindi ko sinabing large lang. Then yung space with red pin, that will be the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle. Merong choroid plexus sa loob. Okay? Now again, similar to the anterior horn, similar to genu, meron kang fibers that will curve right after the splenium. So that will be your posterior forceps. Paglabas muna ng splenium. Then you will have fibers arising from the thalamus pagkatapos sa internal ventricle, internal capsule rather. So much on the lateral side of your posterior forceps. So lateral to it, pero white matter. That will be your optic radiation. Then going caudally, punta sa buntot, sa likod, yung pink, hindi nakita. Okay, yung gray matter na yan, that will be the primary visual area. So yung optic radiation, primary visual area, para sa visual pathway yan. Okay, kaya lang, landmark nyo lang. Okay, so yung red space, that will be the posterior horn. Then yung yellow pins, that will be the splenium or tail of your corpus callosum. Right after ng tail ng splenium, yung mga fibers that arising from it, that curves, that will be the posterior forceps. Lateral sa posterior, pero white, that will be the optic radiation. Okay? Termination ng optic radiation mo will be the primary visual area, yung pink. Okay? Ang included sa basal ganglia mo is in this area lang. So, yung caudate, putamen, globus, this putamen, ito yung globus. Then you have your internal capsule, external capsule. Stream. Okay? Then sa medial, you have your third ventricle. So yung green is the globus. Then yung yellow Baka ako nagkabaliktad ako.
Hindi na duplicate.
Yan. Yung green is your globus, then yung yellow will be your putamen. Okay? Lateral to it. Again, external. To may thin strip na claustrum, then lateral sa claustrum will be extreme. Lateral sa extreme capsule will be your white matter ng insula. Then lateral sa insular white matter will be your insular cortex or gray matter ng insula. Okay? Now again, for orientation, anterior, you have the caudate, you have a narrowed anterior horn of the lateral ventricle, and for the posterior aspect, you have a widened, dilated posterior horn of the lateral ventricle, and you have the thalamus as your guide. Okay? Kahit hindi nyo makita yung kung meron ganyan na temporal lobe, kung saan nakaturo, madali, anterior na. Pero kung wala niyan, your guide will be the ventricles, lateral. Caudate versus thalamus. Okay? So, caudate anterior, thalamus more posterior. Thalamus bigger, larger than your caudate. Okay? Clear? Wala na.
Thank you,
Tapos
Doc.
na.
Sakto yung storage. Tumusog ko yung phone ko.